Well, welcome everyone to this very interesting webinar being hosted by the Cuso folks. My name is Tanya Carr, and I am the program assistant for PECSF. And many of you have joined us through an invitation from Jillian or Mason or myself. So thank you so much for joining us. If you're wondering how PECSF and Cuso are related, you might recall that PECSF is the most visible form of corporate social responsibility for the BC Public Service. And as such, we've been taking a larger role within that realm of corporate volunteerism and the ways that it can benefit you as an employee or as a manager looking to assist your employees in employment growth and in developing those personal skill sets through my performance. And so Cuso International is definitely one of those programs that the BC Public Service is proud to be a part of. We share a very unique partnership with Cuso, where if you apply for and are accepted with one of their placements, the BC Public Service will continue to pay your benefits while you're gone on that placement for up to 2 years. And upon your return, we ensure that you are given a position back within the BC Public Service that is equivalent to the base position that you left to go and have this placement experience. So on the line today, we have Amy Gibson and her colleague Christine, who are going to be talking to us a little bit more about the Cuso 2020 challenge, which is called Attract for Good. And this year, Cuso is going to Machu Picchu. So without further ado, I will turn you over to Amy and Christine.
Thanks so much, Tanya. I appreciate you having us here and being such a wonderful supporter of Cuso International. It's so important that we have the support of our corporate partners like yourselves, and it is really a wonderful thing for us. So thank you. I am sharing my screen with you. So that blue screen that you see is my desktop, and I am going to walk you through a few slides. We're going to talk about what the challenge is, what it's like. We're going to hear from Christine, my colleague, who went on the challenge with me last year. We'll hear more from her about what it was like and how she achieved her fundraising goal and what kind of experience she had. And I am recording the webinar as well, so if there's any information that you want to circle back to at any point, I'll share the recording of the webinar. You can see the slides in that at a later time. I'll also follow up this webinar with an email with additional resources and things like that as well. So let me carry on with my slides here. I do have a slide about who I am. I do coordinate this event that we're going on. It is a fundraiser for Cuso International, and I went on it last year, and it was absolutely amazing. It was a wonderful time, and it was so great to see Cuso's work in action. So if you have any questions, either today as we go through the presentation or after the fact, anything springs to mind that you can think of, please be in touch with me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the challenge and about what it's like or any of the technical side of things. I'm happy to help with that. So please feel free to use me as a resource. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Cuso International. We've been around since 1961. We've been working to reduce poverty and inequality through the work of our wonderful volunteers, our partners, and our donors. And the BC Public Service has had several volunteers with us go on placements around the world, most recently Jamaica, working with youth, employment, and that sort of thing. So it really is a great partnership, and our volunteers, our Canadian volunteers, are doing really amazing things around the world. So important to the partners that we work with, in the various countries. We send hundreds of volunteers each year, and they're professionals that have particular skills to share and work side by side with our partners and really create positive change. It's a wonderful organization, certainly, to be a part of. And if it's a case that you're not able to go on a placement for 6 months or longer, the Cuso Challenge is a way to be a part of our organization, to take part and have a really great experience at the same time for a shorter amount of time. We're only gone away for about 10 days. So if 10 days is more manageable, the challenge might be right for you. we've been working in Peru for a great number of years. And let me just, my slide. The work that we do in Peru is really around women and girls and youth, and really giving them the skills for lasting employment, also promoting sustainable economic development, and really strengthening the Andean way of life. We were able to go on a project visit last year, and we'll be doing it again this year, where we went to a rural area and we saw a women's cooperative. And it was this group of women who were bringing tourists out from the city to learn more about how they live in rural Peru. And so we got to learn about their food and their community and the farming practices and the weaving. So you can see on the screen there, they harvest the alpaca wool, they dye it, they clean it and dye it and spin it and make beautiful products that we were happy to purchase. We scooped up all kinds of great products in that process, but it was really an amazing way to actually see Cuso's projects. And I think that is something that adds a lot of value to this trip. Not only are you going to challenge yourself and hiking to Machu Picchu, but you're able to see a project that Cuso is working with and really get to talk to the volunteers who are working with our partners. Okay, so let's talk more about what the challenge is, and feel free to send in any questions as we go along. I am monitoring the questions box, so please feel free to send those in as we go. So who is the Cuso Challenge? It's Cuso International, and we work with our partner Charity Challenge. They are the ones who actually coordinate the trip. So all of the details of the trip are coordinated through Charity Challenge. They're a wonderful partner that we really have had a great rapport with. We've gone on 3 challenges so far, and all to Peru, and we've had nothing but wonderful feedback with the way that it's organized, the way that it is put together, and so we highly recommend them. We love working with them. What is it? It's trekking, it's camping, exploring, learning, sharing. It's really a wonderful time, I can tell you that. Where are we going? We're leaving from the city of Cusco, Peru, and we're hiking and trekking and taking some transport and a train, ultimately getting to Machu Picchu and getting to see the site and actually spending a significant amount of time at the site. It's all happening on March 27th to April 4th. So that's a 9-day trip. I can tell you that 5 of the 9 days are spent hiking, which is wonderful. You're in beautiful scenery. And why would you do this? I think it's a combination. What I hear most from people is that it's a combo of a personal challenge and the ability to fundraise for an organization that people really believe in, for Cuso International. And then how can you do it? You can book a spot with us. We have a few spots left at our early bird discount, which is $200 off. And I'm going to talk even more about that as we go along today. But there certainly are still spots. Part of what the challenge is for us also is awareness raising. We want more people to know about Cuso International. And so through the fundraising work that we do, we're able to really spread the word about what we're doing, what we're working on, and how we're making an impact in Peru. So in terms of the fundraising component, I'm here to help you. My role is really here to support the fundraising and to help you be successful in your fundraising and achieve your goal as we go along. So you're provided with a wealth of tools and resources and an online fundraising page that you can use to support your fundraising and to make it really easy for people to go on and make a contribution to your fundraising. I can help you with a plan and really come up with something that suits your network and your stage and phase of life. So that's a little bit more about the details of the trip. Let's talk now about the actual trek. Like I said, it's 9 days. 5 of them are spent trekking. One of them is an acclimatization hike, which means you kind of get to know what it's like to hike in Peru. Because we are at a higher altitude than we are here in Canada, we get an opportunity to kind of see what it's like. How's it going to feel? Do I have the right gear? Because if you don't, there's lots of places in Cusco where you can pick stuff up. But I do recommend you have everything sorted by the time you get there. And we also have a visit, like I said, to a project as well as part of this 9 days. And it all heads out of Cusco, Peru. So the beginning and end are all, like the flights and all of that sort of thing, come out of Cusco. A little bit about the itinerary. It is it's a case that on day 1, so March 27th, we would arrive in the morning, and we have a chance to really get to know the city a little bit better. We get to know each other a little bit better because we all come together and get to meet each other. We hope to have 30 people on this trip. We're not quite there yet, but we're well working our way towards that. So we'll get to know each other, and we'll be able to see the city, see a bit some of the markets and that kind of thing, pick up any last minute items. On day 2, we actually go to the project, and we're staying in a hotel in Cusco those nights. The hotel was really nice and quite comfortable. It is a 3-star hotel. Staff spoke English, were very accommodating. They were used to receiving North American guests, so it was great. On day 3, we do the acclimatization hike. And so they basically bust us out to the edge of the city, and we hiked back into the city, which was about a 5-hour hike. And it was at your own pace, and you had a bag lunch that you brought with you, and we got to sit and eat and see beautiful views looking down on the city of Cusco. And then day 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all spent hiking. And you're hiking really in a remote area. You're not going to see other tourists necessarily. The routes that Charity Challenge uses are alternative routes, so they're not busy with tourists. You'll be able to walk through small towns and get to really see how people are living. You'll get to see alpacas and llamas on the countryside, and you're really hiking through valleys and over hills that are gorgeous and stunning, and you get to see the glaciers in the background of the mountains as you go along. At the end of day 7, we're actually reaching the Sun Gate, which is the highest point at Machu Picchu. We end up waking up that day, we take a train to kilometer 104, and that's where we get to hike for the better part of the day, all the way up to Machu Picchu, reaching the Sun Gate. And that moment, I know Christine's going to talk about it in a minute, because it was really special to be able to hike there and not go by bus, but to actually hike up those hills and valleys and get to the Sun Gate and look down onto the site of Machu Picchu. And really have that sense of accomplishment. You can see on the screen there, that's the train that we take to kilometer 104. So we do get a moment to spend some time at the Sun Gate, and then we walk down into the site and take a bus to a local, the closest town, which is Ollantaytambo, and you get to have a hot shower and a beautiful meal and a nice rest after those days of hiking. On day 8, we actually get to go back to the site. And I think that's what's also really special about this trip, is that you get to be there twice. So we get to go back to the site in the morning. We get a personalized tour. It's about a 3-hour tour, all through the site, from guides that we've just spent, those days hiking with. All those guides and everyone are your guides at the site. So you can ask those questions and get lots of wonderful information from local guides who know so much about the culture of the site. So once we've done the tour, then we go back to Cusco and we have a celebration dinner. So we really get a chance to celebrate our success. And then on day 9, things break up after breakfast in the morning. Some people chose to go to Lima, some people chose to stay in Cusco, and some people chose to come home after that. But after the morning on day 9, which would be April 4th, you're on your own to decide what the next step is for you. I haven't seen any questions come in yet. So like I said, again, if you do have questions, please feel free to type them in. I'm happy to answer those as we go. So talking about a typical day, I would say that we wake up around 6:37 and you're woken up to coffee and tea, whichever you prefer, to your tent, brought to you by the dining staff, the cook staff. It is really probably the only time that I'm going to get served breakfast in bed while camping. It was wonderful. I can tell you that they certainly take care of you. You don't have to, I think it's also worth mentioning, you don't have to set up your tent on those hiking days. It's all set up for you. It really is fully supported, this trip. You don't have to carry your bags. What you carry with you is your water, your sunscreen, your camera, your rain gear. But other than that, you all of your baggage goes ahead of you. And so you don't have to worry about setting up or taking down tents. You just have to bring your sleeping bag and a great attitude, I think, is the only thing that you need. Once you have woken up, we have breakfast, you get to fill up on your water, you get a prepared meal, and then you get to bring a snack that you put in your backpack as well. So we leave camp around 8 o'clock and we trek until lunch with stops and breaks and spots to take photos and really, like I said, hiking at your own pace. We walk into lunch, which is already set up for you. There are tents there waiting, and a hot meal, generally a 3-course meal where you get soup, you get a main, and you get a dessert as well. So you're certainly well fed as we go along this trip, which I think a lot of people appreciated. And they're, again, catering to a North American palate and really know how to feed people who are trekking. So you have a lot of faith in that. And then you do also have access to your main pack at that point. So at lunch, you reconvene with your pack. If you want to swap out some things, you need an extra sweater, or you need to peel a few layers, you can do that. And then after lunch, we trek to our final camping spot, which again, the tents will be there. It's amazing that they're able to trek ahead of you using donkeys and horses, and sometimes supported by car. And are able to set up their the entire camp, and then dinner is being prepared. When you come into camp again, you get coffee, tea, hot chocolate, and get to rest your feet. You're also given a bowl of water at your tent. You can wash off, you can clean up, and then after dinner, generally people head to bed at that point. They have some quiet time, they read, they journal, they do whatever they want to do. They head right to sleep oftentimes because you've been hiking all day. It's hiking for about 6 to 8 hours a day, but like I said, you're stopping, you're taking breaks, you're taking photos and those kinds of things as well as we go along. So that's a little bit about what a typical day looks like on the challenge. Now I want to talk a little bit about the staff. The staff are so important to this trip. Not only the local guides, there's 2 local guides that join you through those trekking days, and 1 main guide who oversees the entire trip. And then there's a few more guides that come on the last day when we hike up to Machu Picchu, and you can see them in the photo on my screen now. Those are our guides for our trip in 2018. You can see the gal in the white shirt. She was our doctor, and she came with us through all of those hiking days as well. So rest assured, if there are any concerns in terms of anything to do with health, we do have a doctor there who is so knowledgeable and really knows the conditions and is able to help with anything that might come up. In addition to those staff, there is the cook staff and the camp staff, and that's a whole team of people who are there to prepare meals, to set up camp, to help make your stay comfortable. They're really invaluable. They're there to pick up your spirits and to tell you about the local culture and about what you're seeing and give context to the trip and answer any questions that you may have. And like I said, they double as a guide on the day that we're in Machu Picchu in the morning. They guide you through the entire site, and it allows you to have that comfort level with them as you go along, to not only develop a rapport, but a comfortability to ask questions and really get to know them a little bit better, because they really are wonderful and quite knowledgeable people. In terms of food and accommodations, the accommodations are 3-star in Cusco and in Aguas Calientes. They're very clean, like I said, very friendly staff. In terms of food, like I said, it's 3-course meals. You can see some photos there on the screen of what camp looks like. We have dining tents, so those 4 tents that are lined up next to each other in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. That's the dining tent. And so we would eat all of our meals there. And then you can see the other tents are our sleeping tents, and some photos of inside what those dining tents look like. The staff are also able to accommodate any food allergies. So if you're vegan, if you are vegetarian, whatever it might be, or if there's any allergies, they're able to accommodate all of those, which I think is great. All of the water on the hiking days is also provided for you, and your sleeping pads are provided for you as well. You just need to bring a sleeping bag and a pillow, and then you're all set. As we go along on the hiking days, you can see in that photo on the top left is a kind of a picture of what the trail, or part of what the trail looks like. You'll get to see, like I said, locals, and they'll come out of their houses, oftentimes with children in tow, and they'll spread out a blanket and they will lay out all different types of goods for you to purchase. They very much cater to the trekkers that are there, and you can purchase and support those local people directly, which and they're certainly not overbearing or pushy in any way. They simply sort of provide their products and a smiling face. And I know a lot of people on our trip were very supportive of those people and bought all kinds of beautiful things that were handmade as well. In terms of fundraising and training, we do certainly encourage you to do a little bit of training beforehand. And I think endurance training is what you want to do, as opposed to strength training. So that cardio side of things, hiking, going on practice hikes, walking the stairs, doing the treadmill, those kinds of things to get that heart rate up and get your cardio going, I think is the best plan of attack in terms of training. The trek itself is not challenging or necessarily technical. It has moments when it does get a bit more technical, but for the most part, it is just a trail. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's challenging. It's more the altitude that is the sort of challenging part about it. Making sure that you do a little bit of preparation in advance, I think, is a way to combat that. In terms of the fundraising side, like I said, the fundraising pages are provided for you and by Cuso. And so you'll have your own page to fill in, add a photo, and really talk about why you want to do this. And that fundraising page, people can go on and make a donation, and they would receive a charitable tax receipt for their support. People choose to do all different things in their fundraising. And I know I'm going to ask Christine about her fundraising in a minute, because she did a wonderful job with her fundraising. And you can choose to do it online, like I said, with your fundraising page, or you can choose to do it face-to-face, and probably a combination of the two is the way to go. But whether it be an event that you might throw, or some sort of workplace campaign. I know a lot of people do have the support of their workplace to do some fundraising. There is lots of options to achieve your fundraising goal. And like I said, I'm here to help you do that, to help talk about what might work for you and your network. So keep in mind that you will be well supported in that realm. In terms of what's included, all of the accommodations are included during the challenge. It is double occupancy, so you will be partnered up with the same gender if you are going solo. 3 meals a day, and you have water on all of the hiking days. The entrance fees to all the parks are also included. So the Inca Trail Pass and the pass to get into the site at Machu Picchu is all included. You have all of the ground staff, so the English-speaking guides, the drivers, the cooks, the porters, the doctor, and all of the staff included. We have also all of the first aid supplies and anything that might be required on that side. We have the tents and the sleeping pads, all of that stuff is included. What's not included are tips, and any additional food or alcoholic beverages, I would say, are not included in that. Before your departure, what's included? You get a members area where you can go on and learn more about the local context. You can learn or gain access to a equipment list. The full itinerary is on there. There's also a 20-week training schedule if you want to follow that. There are fundraising ideas and advice. And lots of different materials that are available for you to review before you go. So now I want to talk a little bit to Christine.
Okay.
So welcome, Christine. Thank you for joining me today.
You're very welcome. Hello, everyone.
So again, I'm keeping my eye on the questions, and it's a very quiet group, so I don't have any questions at the moment, but please, again, I'm encouraging you to send those in. I'm happy to review those. So that picture right in the middle is a photo of Christine. It's a beautiful photo. That was a sunny moment.
It was.
We saw all different types of weather in 2018. So that was a beautiful picture. But I did want to ask you, what motivated you to go on the Cuso Challenge?
I had always wanted to go to Machu Picchu to see it, and it just kind of worked out this time. I said no one other time when we went with Cuso. I wasn't able to go, and I'd also said no previously to a friend who was going on a Cuso trip, not a Cuso trip, sorry, a Machu Picchu trek. And this time I said I can't say no 3 times. I've been wanting to do this forever. I'm going this time, so I went this time. And for me, it was. It was one of the bucket list things. It was a big year for me that year, age-wise, for birthdays. And it just seemed very appropriate that is what I should do. So I went. I went for it, exactly.
And no regrets?
No regrets, none, absolutely none, yeah. Yeah.
I think that's not uncommon when people say that they're doing it for a milestone. You know, I think those milestones, whether it be a wedding anniversary or a milestone birthday or just that thing that you've always wanted to do, that bucket list thing, I think
you don't want to miss out on the opportunity.
That's
sure.
right. Yeah, I do feel like all of the participants, I think, that have registered this year have all had that kind of moment where it was like, well, it's giving me an opportunity. I had one gal who's coming with us said, you know, it's an opportunity for me to get fit, get training, set my sights on a goal, and actually check something off my bucket list, in addition to helping to support a really great charity that she believed in. Yeah. Which I think is why most people have chosen to do it. So yeah, that's not an uncommon thing. So let's talk about some of the things that you did to prepare for your challenge.
I probably should have done a little bit more, but I did walking on the weekends in Ottawa. Here we've got lots of mountains and hills, I guess. We would call them hills. They're not mountains, but a lot of treks in the Gatineaus, and I probably would have done more up types because of uphill stuff. Because the stuff here is more up and down. It's hilly versus a straight up and then a straight down. So I might have done a little bit more of the upward walking training, which is good. Stairs and things like that I should have done more of. But saying that, we did the trek and we were very successful. And Amy, you said earlier, you go at your own pace, and you really do. And just one foot in front of the other, and you end up reaching the top. So it's quite amazing. But we did some walks, and we did for about 3 months prior to going, for sure twice in the week, because everybody gets busy, and if not, we try to do 3 or 4 times in the week. So it was good.
Yeah, getting those training and getting those steps in. It's definitely.
And I actually ended up becoming quite a lover of walking out in the Gatineaus. I wasn't a huge fan before, and I've become one, and I look forward to it. And it's such a beauty. Being outside is so great. So it was overall very good. Everything just worked well. So.
Yeah. In terms of your challenges, what did you find a challenge on the trip? Because I want to talk about challenges and highlights.
Challenge, I think initially I think for me it was with the altitude, it affects your breathing. So you walk quite slowly, and I think the challenge is to slow your walk down, because you're walking like you would in your hometown, which you can't do, and you have to make adjustments because of the altitude, and even just slowing it down a fraction of a second makes a huge difference. So like we had somebody in front of us she was our pace setter. Yes. Yeah. She we're like, okay, wait, I think you have to slow it down just a fraction more, and then so that we could actually talk and walk, because it was difficult to talk and walk in some cases. So I think for me the challenge was not to speed ahead, or not that you could speed ahead, but thinking that you were going too slow. It's sort of a mindset to
slow and steady
wins the race. It really, really does.
Yes.
You don't want to try to catch up to the people in front of you. Just take your time and do it, and
do your own thing.
Yeah. And it worked, and it worked very well, actually. So it made for a good trek.
Yeah. I think also the beauty of it is that those people who want to speed ahead can do so. And, we had those people who were at the front of the pack. And then there's those people kind of in the middle of the pack. And then there's people at the back of the pack, and there's guides placed all throughout. So there's a guide at the front, there's a guide in the middle, and a guide at the end. And so you're never left on your own, or feeling like you're holding anyone up, or that you're going too slow. I think as long as you're going your pace, you're right on schedule.
And you also don't want to go too fast that if you are having breathing properly, if you're winded, you want to be able to enjoy the trek as well as the view around you, because if you're too fast, you miss things, right?
It's
so
true.
You want to take your time and really
take it in.
Yeah, take it in, feel what you're doing. It's so, it was really, really good.
So then let's now talk about some of the highlights of the trip.
Oh goodness. Well, all of it was a highlight, really. But the 2 big ones for me. One was going to see the Cuso project, because working for Cuso, I don't actually get to travel with my job. I'm admin. So I get to hear about everything, but this time I actually got to see what we do. And so for me, that was a huge highlight, being able to visit one of our projects and talk with the women, and it was just a huge highlight. And then the other highlight for me was our walk, the last day walking up from Machu Picchu, getting off the train at mile 104 and walking up to the Sun Gate. It was a challenging day for, I think, distance and for
technical wise.
It was a little bit more, yes, it was a little bit more technical, yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, we get dropped off in the middle of nowhere off on the side of a train track. So that was quite amazing. And just as far as when you're walking through other ruins, Inca ruins, and just the fact that you'd walk this far up and they were walking with things on their, like, rocks and boulders and things up their back, how that ruin became a ruin up in that area. It's just amazing. So, and then of course walking just up to the top, like getting to the Sun Gate, it was just a huge accomplishment. Like, you just felt so proud of yourself for actually making the trek and being able to do it, and almost, it was probably the best moment, I think, of the whole trip, when everybody got up to the top and everybody was feeling it. So it was really good. It was the last day is a great day.
Yeah, that was my favorite day too.
Yeah.
You're right. Seeing the Inca ruins, like, you're not just seeing Machu Picchu, but all that day, throughout the day, you're getting to see all different Inca ruins.
Yeah. Which you don't get to see if you don't
if
do
you
the
take
trek.
the bus.
Like, if you it's in the middle of nowhere, so if you don't walk up there, you're not going to see it.
That's right.
So that was kind of
Special.
cool.
Yeah, really. And hearing from the guides explain, what was going on there and why these things were there, I think is so interesting and added value to the thing. And then, like you said, getting there and having that accomplishment of, I have just spent 4 days trekking through the Andean wilderness, and having this experience, it really is so special to be able to make it there and to have that checked off your bucket list and know that you did it for yourself and for a great cause.
Yeah, it really is.
So my next question for you is around your fundraising.
Yes.
So tell us what you did to achieve your fundraising goal.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I had a big birthday. So I was trying to come up. I thought I should have a big birthday party, invite literally everybody I know. So I had some help quite a bit of help from Amy with regards to my webpage and content, like finding the words and how to say things. I ended up having it was the big 5-0. So I had a big birthday party where I served Peruvian food, excuse me, so that those that were able to actually come to the party could taste it. So they could have a taste of what we were going to experience. I sent it out on the webpage. I sent the webpage out that we created and sent it to everybody I knew
by email.
Okay. And I also did it on Facebook.
Okay.
I sent it to people too who were not able to, that I knew would not be able to come because it was a fundraise. It was for fundraising, and I was a little bit worried at first before I pressed the button, and once I got everything all ready, and then when I finally pressed the button, it was done, and I couldn't do anything else.
It was out there.
It was out there. It was done, and people were super happy to support and make a donation. So it was, it was for me that they wwere doing that, which super. I was very grateful for that, and it worked. I fundraised. I think there are two types of funding packages, which Amy will talk about later, I guess. But I did the one where I had to fundraise more, and I hit my target in just under 3 weeks. So
no time.
And just doing that. So it was, if you have a big birthday, it's the greatest thing to, it was a very, very successful fundraising plan. So for that, yeah, so it was scary at first, and I wordsmithed and I made sure everything was all exactly right. And as soon as I pressed the button, there's nothing else I could do, and it was done. So, and then it was easy.
And then you watched it come in, and people were generous and I think happy to support you, and then also to get a tax receipt and to support an organization that you're
that I feel very strongly for. So there, I mean, because I've known about the Cuso is an important organization for me, and people want to help you and support you with that. So,
and even in a workplace context,
I had lots of colleagues that supported me, and it was really actually really quite wonderful.
It was great. It was such an outpouring of our fellow colleagues and your support system, your network. Were so very supportive. So. Combination of online and face-to-face, you had the party and you had the online side, and in a matter of weeks you were done.
Gave them an experience to try things, right? The pisco sour and Peruvian chicken, and so it was all some yuccas, so it was quite fun.
Right. That's great. I have another question for you.
Okay.
Last question. Why would you suggest that others consider joining the challenge? What would you tell to somebody who's thinking about doing the challenge?
I'd say do it. If it's on your bucket list, if you like trekking or walking or camping or travel, especially travel, you should do this. You could not do this and go some other time and take a bus up to the top of Machu Picchu and just go wander around it. I don't know that, I don't think that would be the same. You would have the same feeling that we all had from trekking it. You feel a lot closer to not to the Incas, of course, but you actually get to feel what it's like culture. Walking up and what the surroundings are like and what food's like and it's a much better overall experience, I think. I think if you go the other way, you just get a lot of crowds and a lot of tourists and you're at the top of a mountain looking out and there's not another soul except for the people that you're with. It's pretty impressive. You could see for miles and miles and miles. So, why do I think people should do it? It's a one-of-a-kind experience that you won't get doing you won't get it any other way. So, I don't know. It was amazing. Still is, even after almost a year later.
You're never going to regret it. You're never going to regret that experience. No. Everyone that I've spoken with, we're kind of preaching to the converted. We're already fully into this because we've been there and we've done it. And I can tell you that past treks have also had a really great positive experience. Everybody in the group achieves the goal. Everyone got there. Everyone's always made it there. So whether you are young or old or at varied skill levels or whatever point you are in your life, this is something that you can do. Anyone can really do this and have this experience. So,
it's a great, wonderful experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So
challenging.
Yes.
But doable. Totally.
Exactly.
And, amazing.
Exactly. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the cost. I'm sure you're wondering what the cost of the challenge is. You can choose, like Christine alluded to, there are two models that you can choose from. The self-funder model is where you would put more money up front and you have to fundraise a little bit less. So it's $26.50. Again, that includes all the ground transfers, the hotels, passes, guides, the food. It's really all inclusive except for the flight. In addition, people would then fundraise $2,500 to support Cuso's work. And like I said off the top, this event is really a fundraising and awareness raising event for Cuso International. And we provide you with the tools and support to achieve that goal. So That is the self-funder model. And then the flexi-funder model is where you pay a little bit less upfront yourself. Again, the $1650 again includes all of the same things: the ground transfer, hotels, passes, food, and all of those things. The flight is not included again, but each participant fundraises $4,000 as a part of their participation. Everybody achieves their fundraising goal. And like I said, I'm here to support you in achieving that goal. All of the donations that you receive in your fundraising will be tax receivable, so people will get a nice benefit from a tax receipt. And if you have any questions about how these payment models work, I'm happy to break those down. We do see people choose both of these options, and it just depends what works best for you, given your situation. There is a deposit up front of $650. That's to reserve your spot. And then the balance gets paid later on. And then you're given access to the fundraising portal. In terms of a special offer, we certainly have an offer that's on right now. Again, I alluded to that at the beginning, our early bird discount. So the first 15 people to register using the promo code Cuso 200 will save $200 off the cost of the trip. So right off the top, you're able to take $200 off. I can tell you that spots are filling up. Just this past 2 weeks, we've gotten 4 more registrations. So we are coming to the end of the first 15 people, but there are a couple of spots left. So if you are interested in that, please reach out to me. Be in touch. I can, again, answer any questions and give you whatever information you might need to help you make your decision. But I do encourage you to go to our website. It's cusointernational.org/Cuso Challenge, and there's lots of information there around the trip, the itinerary, what you can expect, and some frequently asked questions and things like that. So you can go check that out as well. Okay, so we're coming to the end of my time, and I want to really open it up. I don't have any questions that I can see are coming in. We have a quiet bunch.
I have one that is coming in from Melanie in the chat. This is Tanya, sorry.
Okay.
Melanie is asking, hello, what vaccines are required for the trip? Also, did you encounter any wild animals besides alpacas and llamas?
Oh, two really good.
I will now mute myself.
Okay. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that you brought that to my attention. Okay, so a couple of really good questions. Vaccine required for the trip? I did not get any vaccines for the trip. I think if your vaccines are up to speed.
I was trying to think. Did we get hepatitis?
Hepatitis, maybe.
Good. I can't remember. There might have been.
I don't think that there's anything that's outstanding, like that you have to get before you go. But what I can do is I'm going to follow up after this with you, Melanie, and let you know what vaccines are recommended. I know I don't think there's any that are like mandatory or anything like that, but I can give you a list of things that might be recommended for you. I know some people did take altitude medication as a part, because there is something that helps you acclimatize to the altitude. But hepatitis might be another one. But I think if you have most of your vaccinations up to date, I don't think there's anything really too much that's outstanding beyond that. But I will follow up with you, and I'll actually follow up with the rest of the group so that everyone will get the answer to that. And then in terms of wild animals, what did we encounter, Christine? We saw a lot of alpacas. We saw a lot of llamas. We could tell the difference between the two by the end.
Yes. And in town, there are lots of dogs.
There's a lot of dogs in Cusco.
Which are half owned and half not.
Yes. Rogue dogs just roaming around. Yeah. So beware of I wouldn't be petting dogs and making friends with random dogs, because they oftentimes are wild and that type of thing. Other animals, there's no predators, I wouldn't say, like there is here in Canada. In terms of bugs and things, I would be the only thing that I would say, which I didn't really encounter much of that either.
I didn't either.
it's a time of year that's not sort of peak of summer. It's kind of a shoulder season when we go, and when we were there in October, and again when we're going in March, it is a shoulder season, so it's not like
He's kind of dormant.
That's right. There's not a lot of like mosquitoes or even geckos or things like spiders. I don't recall any of that.
I would have remembered spiders. Yeah. I don't like spiders.
Or snakes. Carol is saying bird life. Potentially some bird life. Because we're hiking at altitude, we're above the tree line in a lot of places. So you can see in some of the pictures that it is just sort of grassy and rocky. So there's not a lot of trees for birds, but they're in Cusco. There's birds on our acclimatization hike. Actually, when we hiked back into Cusco, there's a lot of eucalyptus in Peru, and so there was a chance to see. There were some forests and some things like that. I wouldn't say it's particularly birding country necessarily, because there's not a lot. Actually. Eagles are, what are they? Are they eagles? So as a part of the Inca culture, they have animals that represent different parts of the atmosphere. So the earth, the air, and the sky.
The Pachamama.
Exactly.
The Sacred Valley.
And so part of what those things represent, there's a cheetah or puma and an eagle and a serpent. And so we did see, I remember Herman was saying, oh, look, there's a eagle. I don't know if it's an eagle, but a big bird in
soaring in the sky.
Exactly. So there were some moments like that where we got to see, and he was saying, oh, it's good luck to see that. As I don't know if he tells everyone that, but he says, oh, look, it's great luck. It's like a good omen for us on our hiking days that we're going to have a good time. So lots of opportunities for photos with alpacas and llamas and those kinds of things. They're
lovely faces,
adorable, which we don't always get to see here. Great, those are really great questions. Thank you. Thanks everyone for sending those in. And like I said, please feel free to send any others to myself. My email is there. Check out our website for more information there as well. And I hope this gave you a sense of what it was like and piqued your interest a little bit about joining us on the Cuso Challenge. After this presentation, I'll send you the recording and the answers to a couple of those questions. And I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank Christine for sharing her experience. Thank you for joining me.
Happy to be here. Thank you very much.
And I want to thank Tanya and the BC Public Service for allowing us to share a little bit about this awesome event that we're holding in March 2020. If you want to check Machu Picchu off your bucket list, if you want to make 2020 an epic year, I hope that you consider joining us on this trip. And I look forward to talking with you more about our challenge and about your involvement in it. So thank you, Tanya, and thanks to everyone for joining us today.
Well, and thank you, Amy and Christine, for sharing with us your experiences. That was really great. And thank you for all of the beautiful visuals. And I think the one question I had was around whether or not there was charitable tax receipts. And you fully answered that and tackled it before I even got to ask it. So thank you so much on behalf of everybody in attendance today. And I'm sure there will be quite a few more that will be watching the video once that is uploaded. And I think that's it from our side, unless anybody has any last minute questions.
Great.
It doesn't look like it. So yes, once again, thank you so much, Amy.
Super. Thank you. Thank you so much again for having us. And I look forward to continuing the conversation and continuing to work with the BC Public Service. So thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.